baby. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, Toon here back again. Well, this week I'm going to be reviewing the Super SD System Free. This is a add-on for the PC Engine. What this actually does, it plugs in the back of the PC Engine and it gives you, it emulates the card games, it emulates the system card games, and it emulates the CD-ROM. So this is a complete CD-ROM replacement essentially for a standard PC Engine. If I hold this up, sorry about the light, it's a little bit awkward. And also this actually converts your PC Engine to RGB, and it's got an RGB output which uses a Megadrive 2 SCART lead, which is quite useful because they're quite easy to find out of. So if I take this out of the box, which is a little bit difficult to get out of this box to be honest, but without breaking the actual box, I'll show you the actual machine itself. This is the actual machine itself. It's there's the connection that goes into the extension port on the PC Engine. That's the SD card, which you'll see in the slot by here. On the back then you've got your Megadrive 2 SCART lead connection, and that's it. And it basically, this machine actually just fits basically right in the back of a standard PC Engine. And then it works like an Everdrive. You can play literally every card game. It will play Super Graphics games as well, but you do actually have to have a Super Graphics to actually play them. But what this actually will do, it will emulate the CD-ROM games as well. So it'll play the standard CD-ROMs, it'll play the Super CD-ROMs, and it'll play the arcade CD-ROMs. It's got an arcade CD-ROM card built into this machine. Then you have to dump the BIOSes for the other system cards. So literally you can play any system card, any game, it'll just, everything will work on this thing. Inside here as well there's an FPGA which is obviously running in the machine. I don't know exactly what it's actually doing. I don't know whether it's emulating a PC, well not emulating because it's hardware, whether it is actually a PC Engine on there or whatever, but it basically plugs in the back of your PC Engine. So if I, in the box, so you get your standard box, you get a little bit of instructions. So I'll open these up. Literally tells you what sort of compatible formats he uses and what to put on your SD card and stuff. For as far as I know, basically anything with PCE for the cartridge games with .pce will work on you. ISOs and Q files and ISOs will work. Q files, ISOs and WAV files for the music will work. Also Q and bins will work on you. I don't know about the Q and MP3s though, because I haven't actually got one of them to try it. So whether it does play that, I don't know. But what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be plugging it into this bad boy, which is my Super Graphics. Basically, if I turn my Super Graphics around, on the back of the Super Graphics, you've got the extension port. I'll actually move some boxes a minute, guys. So it's getting a bit full in here. You've got the actual extension port on the back, and I'll show you what this does. It literally just plugs onto the back like that, and you clip it together, and that's pretty much it. They've got a nice little cutout for your power. On this side then it just sits quite nicely, and then you basically turn it on, plug your SCART lead in there, plug your power in your Super Graphics, and off you go. So with this, because it's a Super Graphics, I can play literally all the Super Graphics games. There is only 5 Super Graphics games, mind. There was 2 other games, 2 Darius games, which take advantage of the Super Graphics extra, I think it was extra layers of background or something, but to be honest, it's very hard to tell if what extras they had. I've played them, I can't really tell those extras. I might be missing the extra background layer or something, I don't know. But yeah, so once you've got this on the back of your PC Engine, say this device will only work on standard PC Engine. So you got your white PC Engine, your Core Graphics, your Core Graphics 2 and your Super Graphics. It won't work on the Shuttle because it doesn't have the extension port. It won't work on any of the Duo systems or the Duo-R or Duo-RX because they don't have an extension port either. This will work on a TurboGrafx 16. It'll plug, because they've got the extension, it's exactly the same as a standard PC Engine. Just plug in the back, dump your stuff on the SD card, off you go. The SD card is like in a little bit of a recess. It's a little bit difficult to get out actually, unless you've got a good set of nails on you, which I haven't. It's very hard to get in there to actually clip that SD card out. As far as I know, this supports up to 256 gig SD cards. I've got a 128 gig one in here, and that works perfectly fine. I think My Love in Gaming did a video on this as well, and they tried a 256, and I think it worked perfectly fine. So that's more than enough to put every PC Engine game ever made on there. I haven't got everything on here. I've got pretty much all the card games. I've got about 260 CD games on here. I do own a hell of a lot of original PC Engine games as well, mind. But this thing is far more convenient. Like I say, optical media is great, but the CD drives, you know, PC Engines do take a little bit of looking after. The machines are getting old, optical drives are getting old. So you got to take care with them. But I say, with this thing being a complete and utter replacement for a CD drive, it's a very useful piece of kit indeed. And say if you do actually have a Super Graphics and plug it in the Super Graphics, you can play everything. This machine, this Super SD System 3, which has got a bit of a crazy name, is made by Terra Onion, which are a Spanish company. They made the Neo SD flash card as well. You can order these from them. As far as I know, there's a 6-week wait for postage if you do order them. People have talked about a few little issues. The original boards of this came with, I think it's got a little bit of interference on the video. I think what they did is they used the digital ground in the video, which gives you a little bit of noise. Apparently they were told about this before they brought it out, but they did it anyway. But you can send them back, I think, to the end of this month, end of June, and they'll replace it for free. They brought a second revision of the board out, which unfortunately the first batch that came out, they had a little bit of a manufacturing problem, and they put one capacitor upside down, which apparently doesn't really cause any problem, but it might cause a problem over time. But it's very easy to swap around. There's a little dab of solder, turn it around, put it back on, job done. This is a version 2 board, but the capacitor is the right way round. This has firmware 1.1 on it, if anyone wants to know. Apparently I say, because it's an FPGA, it pretty much plays everything, but there are a few little tiny minor issues with certain games, and there was an issue that someone brought up about the sound being a little bit overdriven. So it's just like, it's a little bit sort of loud and a little bit crackly on some games. I haven't noticed that myself at the moment. But apparently they fixed that. There is a new firmware. As of June last, when I looked on their forums, they're in the middle of doing their website, so you can't register your machine at the moment. Once the website's done, which they're hoping to get it done within the next 2 weeks, I believe, they're going to release firmware 1.2, which fixes a lot of the little tiny issues that are out there. Some people were talking about a little bit of a buzzing noise when it accesses the SD card, which, to be honest, I don't really care about that, and I haven't really noticed it. But I don't really care about a bit of buzz. But there is a little bit of like a power hum in the background. But to be honest, that's just PC Engines. All PC Engines have got that power hum in the background. It's the video chip is a little bit noisy. You probably could get rid of it, but they are apparently looking into firmware this and maybe be able to sort something out with a hum on it. But whether they will, I don't know. But like I said, that's just PC Engines anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to wait for firmware 1.2 to be coming out, and then I'm going to flash this with the newer firmware when it's released. Say each machine is tied by serial number, so you need to go on their website, you register with your serial number when this works, of course, and then you download the firmware for your device. So hopefully, say that'll be done within the next 2 weeks, basically. Hopefully. If not, they have said they're going to release the firmware on a download site instead. So they'll just put links to a download site and you can just download it from there. I say it does fix a lot of little tiny issues, but to be honest, I haven't really run into any issues at the moment. For me, it seems to be working rather well. I have run into one issue where I did get a little bit of stuttering audio, and there was one game I played that didn't have audio, but I'm not sure whether it was the rip I had or maybe the game itself. So, but apart from that, everything seems to be working fine. The video is nice and clear on you. It did come with, the person I bought this off supplied a Megadrive 2 SCART lead. But what I found was the video was really bright. It's probably the SCART lead is the problem there. So I had to add 3 75 ohm resistors to the red, green and blue lines on this, which is pretty much fixed in. It's the perfect brightness now. But I have ordered a retro gaming cables. I do a PACKAPUNCH Megadrive 2 stereo SCART cable. So I've pre-ordered that because the PACKAPUNCH ones don't come in very often, and they say it's compatible with this device. So I've ordered one now to have a really nice quality SCART cable, all fully shielded. But say this cable will do fine for now. So that's the thing, guys. So that's the Terror Onion. So what we'll do now is we'll cut from here, and I'll cut to the actual, and I'll show you the machine, how it works. And I'll show you some of the games running on it, and then I'll show you the video quality. So I am going to be running this through a FrameMeister. So if there is any imperfections in the video, it will be highlighted with the FrameMeister because it's obviously been upscaled. I have tried this out on a white PC engine, which worked perfect. I've tried it on a CRT, and the video, it looks pretty perfect to me. Apparently it's slightly out of spec. With the voltages and stuff to TTL sort of levels. Apparently it's slightly out of spec, but the average person, you know, really, there's a lot of people complaining, but I don't think you're really going to notice, to be honest. It looks perfect on the CRT, and it looks pretty damn good on the through a FrameMeister as well. So I'm quite happy with it. I got no complaints. Yeah, so we'll pan to that, and I'll show you how it all works. One thing I will say, SD cards. All you need to do is basically dump your games in folders on the SD card. They don't have to be separate folders. You can just put a folder for your PC Engine stuff. Dump all the ROMs in it. It'll just pick them up. You do need to make a folder called BIOS, and you dump all your BIOS files in it. But that's literally it. And make a folder separate with your CD-ROM games. And that's pretty much it. It does the job. If you've got an Everdrive, just dump your Everdrive folders on there. Apart from the firmware folder, which wouldn't do any harm anyway, but just dump the folders on there. It works the same. So right, guys, let's swap the machine. I'll show you some of the stuff running and explain how the menus work and everything. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, and guys, this is what the Super SD System 3 looks like when it's powered up. As you can see, I've populated my SD card with folders, which is pretty much the stuff off my Everdrive, which is coming up here, and I got folders for CD. You don't actually press button 1 or 2 to actually select the folders. You've got to use run and select. Select switches between Hu-cards and CD-ROMs, and run basically runs, it goes into a folder, runs a game. If you press select, it'll swap between the 2 windows at the top of the screen. If you Hu-cards, what that does, it swaps the machine and it looks for .pce files, and that's pretty much what all your games are in. Hence, you'll see a lot of games here. If you press the select button, you won't see nothing in that folder because it's looking for the CD-ROM games. They can be in ISO, QISOs, they can be QISO WAV files, they can be Q and bins, and they all work as well. So I'll go back to that. There is some options you can do on this when it goes back. There is a few options you can do on this. If you press button 2, the first option is boot last game. That pretty much will automatically, when you turn the system on, will boot the last game in memory, which can be useful if you're just playing one game, but if you want to change games, you've got to reset back. The other one is the Ingame Trigger. What that does, it allows you to hold down run and select for a few seconds, and that will reset the machine back to this menu from any game. It works pretty much most of the time. Some games take a little bit longer holding down than others. Some games it seems like it doesn't work, but if you hold it down for about 4 or 5 seconds, it will actually work. The second option is to skip CD-ROM press run. On the CD machines, when the CD BIOS boots up, you put a game in and it sits on that BIOS screen until you press the run button to start a game. So this pretty much automatically does it for you, which is quite useful, but it doesn't allow you to go into the CD save menu. But the next option sort of negates having that. Per game backup RAM. What that actually does, it bypasses the internal CD-ROM storage, which is quite small. And what it does, it creates a backup file or a save file for each game named as that game. So you could back those files up on your PC if you wanted to, but it pretty much gives you unlimited save files, because they're about 2 kilobytes, which is nothing. So you can pretty much save whatever you want in this thing. The next option down is enable arcade cards. You can turn that off if you want. Apparently there are some games that give a weird menu or show some weird screens and stuff if you've got the arcade card permanently stuck in your machine. But you can disable it there if you want. Next one down then, if I go into that, this is where you put your system cards. You have to make a folder on the SD card called BIOS. And you dump all your system cards in here. What that actually does is that the arcade card is built in, which is pretty much just extra memory, but you have to put an image of the system card, and it uses that system card to boot things up. Like I'm using the Super System card, the Japanese version, which pretty much boots almost everything. The only reason I would need to change, if you use Altered Beast or Bonanza Brothers for instance, they don't work unless you've got the original version 1.0 system card, so that's when you would change. The other ones I probably never ever need to use. The Game Express was like an unofficial games in Japan, and they did have some CD games that used the Games Express CD card, so it's there if you ever need to use it, but I don't think I've ever come across anything that uses it. And the other two are the American ones, which are pretty much the same as the Jap ones, so you will never need to use them. Right, I'm going to go back to Hu-cards. So that's pretty much the options you get in this game. So I will show a few games. So let's have a look. Let's try some. Let's try Bonk's Revenge. I say the Hu-card games boot up pretty much instantly. You got that tiny little bit of second of loading screen. I say the output on this one, since this is actually the version 2, is very nice. Seems to be working quite nice. So I haven't actually seen the version 1, but apparently the version 1 is pretty terrible. I say, as you can see, like the capture card is not really doing it justice, to be honest, but it is really nice and colourful on my TV, and looks quite nice and sharp as well, which is cool. What I forgot to mention as well, the price of this thing. It roughly works out £223 with the postage. So by the time you take exchange rate into account, it's gonna cost you about 230 quid. And then that is including shipping, that is mind. And then you have to buy a SCART lead, so you want to buy a decent quality one. So you're gonna pay like 15-20 quid for a SCART lead. And then you have to buy an SD card. You're going to want a decent sized SD card, I would say, to fit the CD games on. I bought a 128 card. I bought it from scan.co.uk. Reason I bought it off Scan is the fact that there's loads of copied cards around. If you buy them off eBay, they're a lot cheaper, but then you're guaranteed to get a card that's not an original card. And then you're going to run into all sorts of compatibility problems, cards being wiped and all this crap, so I couldn't be bothered dealing with that, so I just paid the money and made sure I had a proper packed up original. So I bought it off Scan. So we'll go to a different game. So that's a PC Engine Hu-card. I found a few little issues with this, but nothing the firmware can't fix. I found one game didn't have music. I did find one game that wouldn't load, CD game, but then I ripped my original one to Q and bin and it worked. So it must have been just a duff image, basically. Let's have a look. Let's go to PC Engine. Let's try because I haven't this plugged in as Super Graphics. Let's try a Super Graphics game if I can find one. Let's have a look. I'm sure there's one around here somewhere. Maybe not. Those little pictures you see in the bottom right as well, they're not there normally. There is a program which they've made to actually add those pictures in. They're not very good quality, as you see, but they will add the actual pictures in. Only problem, they're not the greatest of quality, as you can see, but I've run it. You sort of point it to your SD card, it runs, it picks up everything on it, and then it basically writes those things in. Like I said, not the best quality ever. Ooh, I don't want to enable that. But actually, I'm going to have to go out here, I think. Be a bit easier to find them in a different folder. Not the best quality ever, but you can add them in. So hopefully they'll update that and it will be a little bit better. I'm sure I've got a Super Graphics folder. Ah, there it is. So I got the Super Graphics games in here, so we'll have a go of Ghosts and Ghosts. Good thing about this is once you go into Super Graphics, you can literally play everything, which is very, very nice indeed. So it's picking my capture card's not picking up how sort of nice this is. So basically, you've got Super Graphics games. So I'm lucky enough to own this game on original as well, and I've got 4 of the 5 games that came out on the Super Graphics. So there was only 5. Unfortunately, the last one is 1941, and it's on the ridiculous side of prices. On eBay it goes for about 400 odd quid. I did see it in Tokyo for 390, and it tends, a lot of people sell it on eBay for 600 quid. I was tempted to buy it because I did want to try and get all the Super Graphics games, but to be honest, I wasn't paying 400 quid for it. I think that would have been a bit crazy. So I'm probably never ever going to own all the Super Graphics games. But it doesn't matter, I've got this thing, I can play 1941 on this. I got all the others all, so that's pretty cool. Whether sometime in the future my hands will come across one that's a reasonable price, I don't know. It's actually Super Graphics games. As you can see, they all work. I haven't found any card games that don't work. The sound seems fine on everything. Apparently some people saying the sound is a little bit overdriven, but I haven't really found that as yet. And I haven't played everything on yet, but I've been playing games, and it it seems pretty good. So we'll have an American game this time. So let's have a look. Let's try R-Type, American version of R-Type. I see this machine acts pretty much exactly the same as an Megadrive. Check all your games on your works, you can put all your translation games on, you can put all your demos, you can put all your homebrew games and everything, and like I say, if you've got an Megadrive already, just dump the folders off your Megadrive on here and it just works. You don't have to worry about the BIOS file on the Megadrive, because that's not really going to do anything to this anyway, but just don't bother dumping that onto. Apparently the original versions of this had quite a really bad buzz in the background, and the picture quality had loads of interference on it. Apparently there was they'd used the analog and the digital ground, I think, and they tied them together for the video, and it pretty much came out pretty awful. Lucky enough I got a version 2. They have been replaced now. I was just talking to a guy on Twitch who's streaming PC Engine at the moment, and he's just had his version 2 back off Terra Onion. But there was a few little issues where Terra Onion went into the forums and they posted you can't measure quality, which is a bit of an odd thing to say when people were moaning about the video quality, and apparently they have banned a few people from the forums who complained about the video quality, which is, I know, it's a bit of a poor show to be honest, like, but that's what people are saying. Like I say, I don't really know what the company's like myself. I'm just going by what people are saying online. I know they've got a forum where you can report problems with games if there is any, and they will try and fix them. And he has been posting about a firmware update. Firmware update 1.2 is finished. It does add a few fixes for a few games, and you can't register the item at the moment on their website because you need to register the firmware, and then you need the firmware then to get you need the serial number to get the firmware, but at the moment that's not actually working. But what they've said is they're building a new website to get that working, and they're going to be another 2 weeks. If it's not done in 2 weeks, they will make a page with a download so everyone can download the firmware and upgrade your machine then. Right, so that's an American PC Engine game. So let's jump on to what you would actually buy. You're probably going to buy this thing for is the CD-rom hardware, where it pretty much emulates the CD-ROM. It's not emulation because it's hardware. It's an FPGA chip that's doing it. So it's it's creating a new CD-ROM essentially. So let's go into CDs. We'll take a little bit longer to load these up because literally there's a lot of games in this list. I'm going to try the game out that I found earlier that didn't work, which I found was pretty much a bad rip, so I've ripped my original and it works perfect. This is a game that no one ever talks about. I've never seen anyone even reviewing it. It's called Legend of Deco Boko. It's a really, really crap looking game, and it's a bit like Micro Machines. But I don't know, I quite like it better. It looks rubbish, this game, but it's quite good fun to play. Pretty much you just got to race to the end. You get to the top of the screen and you're stuck there, and you can jump over, you can buy weapons, and you race through the levels. I think there's, from what I remember, I think there's 10 levels on there, and I used to play this game a lot and finish it. It's got cool music, but looks terrible. You can bump the other cars off as well, so you can actually destroy the other cars. And you can get card upgrades and stuff. You get more money, obviously. Whether you come first, second, third, you get more money if you come first. And you can also destroy yourself quite quick. I say a lot of people saying the audio, especially on the original model, was like really overdriven and fuzzy, but I haven't really noticed that at the moment. On what I've played anyway. So that's Deco Boko, so we'll cancel out that. What we'll do is now we'll find a arcade card CD-ROM game. I'll show you that working. I say with that option ticked, it just automatically plays them. We're going to change the CD, that would help. It defaults back to Hu-card when you reset it. So I'm going to try and pick out a game that everyone says is amazing, which is pretty shite. Strider on the PC Engine. Loads of people say this is the best version of Strider because they've read some random website who said it was. They all say, oh yeah, it's got good sound, you know, it's got an extra level and cutscenes. It's better than the arcade one. Like shit, is it? Nowhere near. And the Megadrive version is much better than this. It's a shame really, because this was going to be a Super Graphics game originally, and what I think happened, they just chucked out on arcade card right at the end of the PC Engine's life, unfinished, just for the hell of it. It does have nice music. So you can see the arcade card games work perfect. It's nowhere near as good as the Megadrive version. Doesn't got nowhere near any animation. It doesn't play as good as it. It's different to the arcade. It's definitely not running 60 frames a second. Why the hell people argue on forums that this is the best version? It's just I just reckon they haven't played it. They just saying it because some website did. As you can see, they work. So we'll go back. So I've been playing this since I had it on Tuesday morning. So I've been messing around with this since Tuesday. Like I said, I come across a few little issues. One was like obviously a dodgy rip. But apart from that, it seems to be working perfect. So like Fatal Fury 2 or Garou Mark of the Wolves. Not Mark of the Wolves. Garou something special. So the PC Engine's had some pretty amazing arcade card Neo Geo conversions. I'm surprised how good they are. Like, let's go to change the stage. So as you notice, the loading is faster, but it still has to load. There's light on the SD card that flashes when it's actually loading, so it does load like a CD. It is faster, but it's not instantaneous. I found it a little bit of a problem getting out of these games because they use start and select as the other two Neo Geo buttons if you don't have a 6-button pad. So they don't actually work as start and select, hence if I press run now, so unselect it does that. So getting out of this game is a little bit more awkward. Oh, let me ask it. So let's see if I can hold down these buttons for ages now and see if it will actually cancel out. Because I couldn't get it to work earlier. Yes, it will. Ah, cool. So if you get a problem in a game, you can cancel it. You just keep holding them down, and eventually it will actually cancel out. So that's enough of the arcade card CDs. So we've tried a normal CD. Let's try a Super CD-ROM game. Let's try a hacked Super CD-ROM game. So let's do loads of fun there. Let's do the one that I hacked and I put the Mega CD music on it, which I thought would be pretty cool to do. I said the loading is quite a bit faster. I do love this game. You always want to get bombs in this. Can't afford anything else. This is by far the best weapon in this game, is the Earth Armor. It's not the most impressive when it comes to firepower, but it's strong, super strong. Those bombs he fires off are hitting the floor, you get ones that go above you as well. They ruin enemies. Especially when you're full powered. Cool. Yeah, I hacked this ages ago and put the Mega CD music on it. I like the Mega CD music, it's really good, but I do quite like the original sort of, I don't know, raw, sort of scratchy sounding PC Engine music. There is something about it, it's more like sort of raw rock, it's class. This is a Super CD-ROM game, so that's loads of fun there. Let's go back. I'm going to try, let's have a look. There is a game called Street Fighter 2, which is a it's not an unreleased game, it's an unlicensed game. It's pretty bad, but I do like one of the I do like one of the characters' move when she basically just spins around and hits you with a tit, which is hilarious. Say this is Games Express as well. It's a pretty bad game. There she is. It's a fighter game, as you see. Let's see if I can do that move. Oh. Let's have a look if this is 6 button. Yes, it is. Plays terrible, this game. Oh, sorry guys, I sneezed then. Whew. Awful. But as you can see, it works. I can't do any moves. So that's unofficial games working, yeah. Like I said, I haven't come across anything that doesn't work. I'll do a few more games. Let's have a look. Trying to think of names of some of them now. Let me have a look for this list. I wanted to find Legendary Axe 2 because that tends to be one that causes problems, but I can't remember the Japanese name for it. See if I can find it. If not, I'll go to Magical Chase, which is another game that can cause problems. Another really good fun game actually, Magical Chase. Love it. Final Blaster, not very good. Alright, I give up that. I can't find the name of that one. So the one thing I'm not overly fussed on is the font. It does make finding stuff a little bit awkward. I'm hoping they maybe in a firmware change, they might change the font a little bit. Love this game. Classic. Quite tricky and hard. But I've got a couple of replays of this game actually. I've got a replay on hard mode. Hard mode's tricky because your stars in front of you block shots in the normal gameplay. In hard mode they don't. So pretty much you can't block bosses. So you have to pretty much just tank the damage. And hopefully you've got enough energy to kill them. It can get a bit tricky, especially towards the end of the game. As you can see, Magical Chase works perfect. Let's see if I can find Legendary Axe 2. As you can see, it's really nice and quick to go back to the menus. I was pretty much sure it might be in game collections. It might be... it's not going to be running guns, I don't think. Valkyrie Densetsu. That's not really a running gun. Let's see if somebody's got it on the list. Legendary Axe. Legendary Axe 2, there it is. See, this is a game that can cause problems. It's quite a cool game this is actually as well. See, another game that works really nice in the Megadrive. You can bounce off their heads, which is quite cool. So you can see it works perfect. So that's Legendary Axe 2. I think we'll try one more CD-ROM game, and then, like I said, I don't want this review to last forever. Tools are pretty much, I'll start one of these up, let's have a look. The test suite, I don't know whether this actually works. This is a 240p test suite, which is good for testing and setting up DVs. That works as well. So you can get like test patterns. So you can use this to actually set up a CRT. Probably you can also get a lag test, which is like a timer, so you set the screen to go to an LCD and a CRT. And you've got a manual lag test, which you press a button basically. Concentrate here. Cool. As you can see, I'd say I'm running this through a frame meister, but I'm only getting like 1 frame of lag, which is quite cool. I got a TV I'm using is pretty much lag free as well, so just quite nice. So even the test stuff works as well, which is good. That's right, let's go to CD-ROMs. Let's see if I can find another arcade card CD-ROM. Let's try Mad Stalker, let's see if I can find that. That's quite a nice game, that is actually, Mad Stalker. Here we go. This is, it was a Sharp X68000 game. It's pretty much a scroll-along beat-em up with a robot, but he can do like sort of like Street Fighter moves. He can do a lot of jumping and attacking. It's quite cool. Sort of game I wouldn't mind getting into. That's if it's got a start, of course. Not. Oh, it might have actually had a crash. Let's see if I can cancel out. Yep. Let's try that again. I know that works because I've played it. It's the first time I've seen a game run and just stop. Right, let's try that again. Here we go. That's what normally happens. You get this load screen. I had one game stop. I was playing an arcade card game that basically reset itself after about 10 minutes of play, but I think that might be to do with the in-game trigger. It would be worth trying that game again and turning the in-game trigger off, which might actually fix it, because they say if you get any problems like that, turn that actually off. Yeah, so this game you can attack, kick, punch, you can double jump. You can do fireball moves. You can do like charge attacks. You fight big bosses and stuff, which is cool. Get that thing off me. You can see a pretty cool sideways scrolling beat 'em up basically with giant robots. I think I'm getting ruined in the corner by these things. Nice crabs and stuff. I want to try and do this level now. Yeah. We'll go right 2 bosses. Little punch and big kick. Right, anyway, so that's Mad Stalker. As you can see, works perfect. Right, guys, what do I actually think of this thing? Well, I've had it's. I can say it was a little bit pricey. I say with everything, I probably paid about 290 quid for it, with the SD card and the SCART lead. But considering what it does, it pretty much emulates every. It's like if you plug it into Super Graphics, that is, you pretty much emulate every game the PC Engine ever came out, and you can chuck it all on one SD card, and pretty much you got everything. So you put this in the Super Graphics, and you got pretty much the ultimate PC Engine. The ability to play every game ever released, and literally off an SD card in no time at all. I have tried this on a white PC Engine running in a CRT, and it looks lovely. The picture's really nice for a CRT, and works perfect. It will fit on the TurboGrafx 16 as well. Pretty much it fits on any standard PC Engine with an extension port. You're talking your white PC Engine, your Core Graphics, your Core Graphics 2, your TG16, your Super Graphics. It won't work on a shuttle because it doesn't have the extension port, and it won't work on the Duos because they don't have extension ports because they've already got the CD. If you plug it in a standard PC Engine, the Super Graphics games won't work. You need to have a Super Graphics for that to work. So pretty much there's 5 games you can't play. But you know, you could just buy a standard cheap white PC Engine, buy a cheap power supply, because it doesn't require its own power supply. Plug this thing in the back of it, and you've got pretty much the ultimate PC Engine. The cartridge slot as well. If you put a game in the cartridge slot, it does bypass the Super SD system free, which is quite a nice feature. So you can play all the originals, no problems at all. But yeah, you can have, you know, full CD-ROM emulation. It seems to work pretty damn good. There is firmware that fixes a few issues with some random games, but hopefully they'll just keep releasing firmware for it, and any problems that people point up on the message boards, they'll fix, because it's an FPGA. They can reprogram it, they can fix it. So but I would be careful when buying one. If you are going to get one, don't buy version 1. Make sure you get on the version 2, because the version 1, as far as I know, like I said, is supposed to have video issues and all this type of stuff, and they're only doing exchanges on them to the end of June, I believe. So you want to make sure you've got a version 2 board before you buy one. So either buy one, a new one off their actual website, which I'll put in the description, which is neosd.com, I think it is, www.neosd.com. At least I think that's what it is. Let me double check this one just to make sure. Oh sorry, neosdstore.com, which I'll put a link in anyway, so you can have a look at that. Or if you're going to buy one off like a third-party seller, make sure it's the second revision or the first revision. Unfortunately for them, the first batch of the second revision had a capacitor upside down, which apparently doesn't cause any problems. And they said that they would take them back and change it if you want, but you shouldn't. Don't worry about it. But it could cause problems over time. But if you're any good at soldering, it's a pretty simple fix. It's basically just heat it up a bit, flick it off, turn it around, put some more solder on it, job done. Really nice and easy fix, but you can send it back to them if there is a problem. But my one, which is one of the latest models they do, they fixed that and the capacitor's in the right way round, so I got no problems with that, luckily enough. So yeah, what do I think of it? Really good device. I'm really chuffed I bought it, actually, to be honest. And even though I do have two Duos and a TG16, I think my Super Graphics is going to get the majority of my use now these days, just because of the convenience of it. I do have a hell of a lot of PC Engine games as well. I'm not going to stop me collecting PC Engine games when I see them for a decent price, but yeah, just the convenience of having everything on an SD card that boots up instantly. And the reset as well, which saves you getting up because I'm pretty lazy. It's pretty awesome. So I'm really happy with it. It seems really good. I'm quite happy with the video output. Apparently the video output is not totally perfect, but it looks good enough to me anyway, from what I can see of it. I know apparently that some of the voltages are slightly off, but I'm not getting any problems. I'm not getting any problems on a CRT either. But if you are really picky about your video, you may want to check some of it. You know, check it out. I'm quite happy with the video on it, to be honest. I'm not going to complain. There is a little bit of a hum in the background, but to be honest, all PC engines have got a hum in the back. My Duos have, the TG16 has. They've all got a little bit of a hum in the background, so that's not really much of a problem. It's just old hardware. The other problem with the video, there are still jail bars. They're very, very slight on this. You can hardly see them, but they are there. But that is an inherent PC Engine hardware problem that's on all machines that needs a hardware fix to alleviate. I've tried that fix on my Duo and it made them a little bit better, but it didn't fix it, unfortunately. But yeah, you can't really blame them for that. That's a hardware problem. Apart from that, yeah, I really like it. I you know, if you've got a PC Engine and you want to play some of the CD catalog and stuff, and you don't want to spend hundreds of pounds on CD machines, buy one of these things, and pretty much you'll have everything. You can play everything on the PC Engine, which is good because you know CD drives are getting old these days, and they are breaking down, and you know, the games are getting more and more expensive to get hold of, and CD optical media eventually it'll probably lose its data off them or they degrade. But with this thing, it's an all-in-one solution. You just plug in the back and there you go, whatever you put on it works. So yeah, I think I would recommend it. It's really good, but do make sure you get a version 2, not a version 1, because of the problems with the version 1. If you look at what are they called? I'll find the website for you now, guys, and you can have a look. I'll put a link to their review actually as well. It's My Life in Gaming. They did a really in-depth review, and they mentioned about the first models and the video quality, and the second model and the capacitor. Might be worth you having a look at that. Their review was quite nice. And they go well into sort of the video issues on there. The only other thing I would say is a lot of people are having problems with the company behind this. Apparently they have been deleting people on forums. Apparently, I haven't seen it myself, it's just what I'm hearing. And some of the people who have been trying to help them with the video output, they've been ignoring them and basically deleting some people from the forums, which is a little bit of a shame, because they could do with listening with some people from the community who know what they're talking about. It could have helped them out a little bit with the RGB on this. They said they would have done it for free. So, but like I said, I haven't actually seen the forum post that did that. I've just heard from websites and a few sort of YouTube channels about it. But they, you know, there is a forum you can find, and they are answering questions on there. So at least there is that, and they are posting about firmware. But yeah, it seems a pretty nice device. I'm really happy with it. I'm glad I bought it, and I'm glad I bought one before they stopped selling it, because this is definitely a device that's well worth keeping for your PC Engine. So if you've got the money and you fancy it, go out and buy one. I would, and you can happy PC Engine gaming for years to come. I think, to be honest, and you get to play all the really cool CD-ROM classics that cost a small fortune these days. So yeah, recommended by me, and hope you enjoyed the review, guys. And I'll probably catch you next week with something else. Not sure what it is yet, but we'll see. So catch you then. Bye now.